Yeah, like Lana said, my name is Ben Marshall, and I work with the Missouri Department of Agriculture, and I'm one of the inspectors here in the state. And really, what I want to talk to you all about is kind of 5 things that we like to do and we like to share with growers whenever we're working with them, whenever it comes to the produce safety rule. And Cal did a really good job discussing FISMA and what that is, and then he also talked about the produce safety rule, which is the rule that we fall under. Now, Missouri is, we are under FDA. So it's one of those things where FDA actually provides grant money for us to go out, and it's all administered within the Missouri Department of Agriculture. So with that, there's 5 things that we really like to, do at the department. And the first one is outreach. And getting out of the office and getting to know our growers is really the only way that we can get information into people's hands so they understand what the rule is and what what they need to do in order to get the rule to be covered by, if they're covered by the rule. And so one of the things that we have done is we've created a whole bunch of, call it swag or whatever you like to call it. But what we've tried to do, and if you've ever seen us at a trade show or we've been to the organic conference in Kansas City, you can obviously have a little folder here that has all our information in it. But right off the bat, what we wanted to do was talk about the Food Safety Modernization Act and then how it's going to help farmers in the state of Missouri. So we put together a little brochure with that. And any of this stuff that you all would like, if you're in Missouri or you would like to look at it, you can. I'll provide my email here, and you can shoot me an email over here in a little while, and I can share all this information with you. But not only how is your farm going to be affected, but then are you covered? And again, Cal talked about some different exemptions. But if you sell over $25,000 of produce and it's going to a broker, so to speak, then you would be covered by the rule. So these 2 brochures kind of break that down and show you what that is. Along with the outreach within the rule, again, I'll reference some of the things Cal talked about is basically what all are you talking about? Health and hygiene, domesticated animal. And so we've got these little booklets that we can give you that really, it is the rule and it talks about the rule from A to Z. And as an inspector, this is what mine looks like. I've got them all tabbed out. So if a grower has a question, I can just hop in there and find where that's at and then pass that along to them. It's very helpful, and it's an easy reference tool to look back on. A couple of the other things that we have is an inventory card, and I know it's too small for you to see, but we try to get this in front of as many growers as we can. And what we're trying to do is just build our farm inventory. One of the most important things we can do within building our inventory is providing farmers with all this information. So if we don't have your information, we can't provide you with understanding of the rule, answering your questions, and then getting you updated information as it comes through. So again, if you're in Missouri and you would like us to have you where we can send out information, would love to pass these along. We also have that electronically, which we can share with you. Another thing that we have is what we call OnFarm Readiness Reviews. And I'll talk about that again here as one of our goals. But again, we have a card that we send out, and with all these cards, you just simply put a stamp on the back side, and you're good to go there to send it in. And again, this allows us to just come out to the farm and visit with you about your farm individually. Cleaning and sanitizing and record keeping. And again, Cal talked about that. Obviously, clipboards, we see these hanging in pack houses all the time. It actually has records on them. They fill it out. We work with a lot of Amish and Mennonite growers, and so whenever we hand them that information, we like to see that out their pack sheds. And then our record templates. Our record templates are something that we're very proud of. We've shared these with numerous states across the country, but what we've done is we've broken down exactly what records you have to keep within the produce safety rule. And so we broke them down by color coded. So the top here would be required records. The yellow would be records that would be required if you're doing those things, such as using compost. And then we have all the optional records. And then within that, we've provided you an example page that's already pre-filled out, and then we've provided you with a blank page that you can make copies of. Again, if you're interested in these, whether you're covered by the rule or not, keeping records is so important. If you're selling produce at the farmer's market or roadside stand, wherever it may be, the more records you have, the better off you're going to be, especially if there's an outbreak. So that's a little bit of our swag. Oh, and we just got these in too. These are contamination flags. They're no pick zones. So pre-harvest, you go out and you're looking for animal contamination. If you see it, you can mark these and you can train your workers on understanding the practices if you see a no pick flag, what to do with that. So with all that being said, outreach is number one, and it's number one for a reason, as you can see there. Our second thing is the FISMA training, which again, Cal covered. It's an 8-hour course. You get a certificate, and one of the things whenever you're inspected is that you need to be able to provide that inspection. Not every worker has to go. It just needs to be one of the workers on the farm, and usually the one that's in charge of food safety or the owner of the farm. But as long as somebody from the farm has attended the class, then that would be fine whenever it comes to the FISMA training. I talked about building our farm inventory, and this may be the most important rule, kind of like or one of our most important goals, kind of like I talked about with getting the card out. But it's really important for people to understand that this rule isn't going anywhere, and it's in effect. And if you're covered, it's better to be on the side with us where we can get you that information and answer all your questions, as opposed to trying to not do the things or just kind of staying quiet, so to speak. We always joke we have, like I said, we work with a lot of Amish and Mennonite, and there'll be new communities going up all around the state. And we'll just show up one day and say, hey, how you guys doing? You know, we heard that you moved from Rich Hill to Farmington. And they go, how in the world did you find us? Well, word of mouth travels, and produce travels. And whenever there's good produce being grown, a lot of people know it. And so that's where we work with a lot of the auctions in the state. And we're really starting to ratchet up our farmers market contacts and working with them as well. Even though they may not be covered by the produce safety rule, we still want to get them the information that they have so they can produce good and safe produce. Our fourth goal is on-farm readiness reviews. And again, I showed you the card there a little bit ago, but this is probably, number 3 is probably the most important, building our farm inventory. There's nothing better than a 65-degree beautiful spring day standing out on a produce farm, talking to a farmer about their farm. And every farm is different. I'm born and raised a farm boy, a 9th generation here in the state of Missouri, and being out on the farm talking with farmers, that's what I love about this job. And I love it whenever they invite us out, because an on-farm readiness review, you don't just show up and do it. They actually invite you out to the farm. And so I really think it's important. We've done over 100 of them in the state, and from the Boot Hill all the way up to Northwest Missouri, and everywhere in between. And so it's just a really good opportunity for us to go out and really cover the produce safety rule A to Z. You talk about water sampling. We actually have water sample kits that we take out on the farm with us. We've taken some water sample kits and taken them back to Jeff City, since they do have to be within that 24-hour rule. A lot of the auctions, extension along with ourselves, have worked with them where they all bring it in the same day, and we can take that back. So I really think, getting to know the farmers during the OFRRs helps whenever it comes to the inspections. There's no secrets. They know you, you know them, and they very much are appreciative of the time of having another set of eyes on the farm. A lot of time we do the OFRRs with extension also. So we have extension and we have the Department of Ag as the inspectors, and we're all on the farm together. Our fifth goal is the inspection itself, and all the inspections are announced. So there is no surprise inspection. At least we hope we don't ever have that. If we do, that's above my pay grade. But whether or not you're exempt or not, or you claim an exemption, a lot of people that we're talking to now want an inspection. And again, it goes back to that, having another set of eyes coming out to the farm, making sure that they're doing those things. Even though it'd be maybe sometimes easier to say, no, I'm selling everything roadside stand, or I'm selling everything farmers market, or I'm selling everything to an auction where there's no brokers present. they still want us to come out to the farm. And so I really think that speaks volumes to where produce safety is at, and food safety in general. And, you know, with this whole quarantine, COVID-19 thing, even though it's not through the food, it's going to ratchet up everybody's awareness of just safety in general. And so I really think we're going to see less exemptions in the state of Missouri, and more people wanting us to come out and actually just do the inspection. It's a day long, and really the goal of the inspection is all preventative, making sure that the operation is doing what they're supposed to be doing as it pertains to the produce safety rule. And whether or not you're GAP certified, like Cal mentioned, or your Primus, none of those matter. Some of those have stricter things they need to do, some of them not so much, but our inspection is strictly to the produce safety rule itself. And a lot of times, if we've done the on-farm readiness review prior to the inspection, it's very, very similar. And so, again, kind of another thing about the on-farm readiness review. So that's kind of our program, I guess, in a nutshell. I'm going to be on the rest of the time, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I can take questions now. And if you're on the Missouri side, we don't have your information. I'd love to get it, and I can send out an electronic version of that. And you can email that back to me, or I'll put my email up here as well, and you can email me information there. But hopefully everybody's staying safe, and thanks again, Londa, for a little bit of time here to talk about the regulatory side from the Department of Ag.